was going to start out with kicker.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought Colton was going to come in and just be the guy. And I know it's early, you're mixing guys back and forth, but it seems like Reeser maybe isn't getting enough credit. What's that competition looking like?
Well, it's been a good competition. We got Colton's got a little injury issue, so we're going to shut him down for a couple days. But it's been good. We got to kick the ball better. Today was probably our worst day of field goals. Kicked off really well, both of them yesterday, 4 for 4, knocking the ball out the back of the end zone, which for us is a point of emphasis. But we'll get that rhythm back. Give Jared a ton of credit. He's worked his tail off. Watch Boomer all summer. When we have the chances to we go around him early in camp. So we just got to get him back in rhythm, get him healthy, and get going. But we're in a good spot with those guys. Got to perform better in those key situations as you saw today, but we'll get there.
Is that a battle you think might go all the way up to that South Florida game, or is that something you want to kind of name sooner rather than later?
Well, for me, it's a matter of each position's a little bit different. I'd say no different than if it was a linebacker. We'll work through key situations, and we feel like we're ready to name a guy, we'll name a guy. And those are always dynamic process. It changes. But the more we can get them in game type situations, which Coach D's done a great job of the last few days, those are the situations we want to put them in.
With the kickoff, I know that was real frustrating for you last year, just not being able to kick it deep enough at times. I mean, is that something where you think one guy would do both? Do you expect whoever does kickoffs, the other guy will do field goals? I mean, how do you kind of look at that?
Yeah, we're going to look in those situations. It's a really good question because I've been to places where I've had guys, fortunate enough early in my career, I had a guy named Mike Cannon that did all three. He kicked, he punted, he kicked off, did it in the league. Here we'll find out. If one does better than the other, then we'll do it that way. If one guy's is the best of both, we'll do that. Those two are pretty natural combinations as they go.
You mentioned punting with Doyle. I mean, you lost a punter, I guess, at some point recently. I mean, so you don't have a lot of depth there. But what have you seen from Oscar, and what else is potentially behind him if you ever needed something else?
Yeah, so Oscar's been extremely consistent. It's been, he's fit into the system well. Australian that fits our system and understands, does a great job placing the ball. And then we got a couple options behind. Some of our other kickers can punt in the different structures we're using, depending if we're pocket punt, whether we're rolling out, punting. And we got a couple quarterbacks too, so don't be surprised to see a couple of those guys pop in there.
Just going back to last year, JFR was a fan favorite. I'm just curious what the situation with him going to Oregon was, what you can say about it. I guess, will he be a big miss?
Sure. Well, I wish, again, anytime guys leave, that's part of college football these days. I wish JFR nothing but the most success at Oregon. But I've said it before, it's a lot like an injury. Well, when somebody goes down, you got to work and move on. So we picked Oscar up. He fits very well into what we're doing. I'm very, very pleased with the progress he's made with his time here.
You sleep better at night knowing that you don't have to find a way to stop Malik Sherrod on kick-out?
100%, yeah. And Malik, he's just high energy guy. Great, great with the ball in his hands, but he brings the juice. And I think one thing in the specialist rooms that's probably not talked about enough is Mason Hutton. You got a consistent snapper, and usually when you're not talking about him, that's a good thing. But he's been consistent where he's throwing the ball over a long period of time. He's got the consistent in his length. He's changed his body, so I don't think that guy gets enough credit around here.
I remember when Avery Williams back in the day, he had a unique attitude when it came to special teams returning. I'm not trying to compare Malik to him, but Malik just seems like an uber confident guy. How does that all play into being a dynamic returner?
Yeah, I think both those guys got the swag. Hey, I want the ball in my hands. I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to take those chances. And, sometimes when you take those chances, guys get a little bit nervous. I want this dude to take chances. I mean, he's electric to be around, awesome kid, and I'm fired up we have him in this program.
We've seen, Latrell and Quentin Brown, a couple guys back there, but is it Malik pretty much just safe to assume he's going to get the majority of the kick and punt return?
Well, I think you also got, Latrell's done a great job. He's shown consistency. I think from a kick return standpoint, Dylan Riley's another guy. Had some issues catching the ball, but when he did catch the ball for us a year ago, showed great speed. And he's grown and improved with that. So I definitely keep my eyes on Dylan.
You brought up Mason real quick, and that was such a veteran room these last few years, but now you kind of hit the reset button. And Mason is the veteran, at least here at Boise State. So how important is his role in making sure that whole operation kind of works smoothly?
It's extremely important because anytime you walk into a new place, even me I've been here before, you come back, but dynamics change. So it's important to have somebody in the room that knows what the day-to-day is able to kind of, hey, Mace, what's going on here? How's this go down? And so it is a lot of fresh faces. We're able to have some in the spring, but it's been great to have him. He's accepted and grown in that role, so it's been good.
I can't remember if you did it during the spring or not, Stacy, but Cole Miller.
Yeah.
Is that new?
No, he did it in the spring also. So he's held for us, held in high school.
Okay.
He's done a great job for special teams with us, and so that's a role that he's also worked into his holding.
What makes a good holder, and why does he fit that?
Yeah, it's funny. It used to be your quarterbacks held. Well, they don't hold anymore, right? So a lot of times your specialist is going to be your punter because those guys get so much time together. But Cole's a guy who did it in high school. He's comfortable with it. He's got great hand-eye dexterity, and he continues to work at it. He gets out there early and works at it. And I think you put all those things together, he's going to have a prominent role for us on special teams. So we feel really good about what Cole's done in that role.
In general, special teams, we talked a lot about it last year, just the frustration of some of the overall special teams being kind of below your standard last year. I mean, I know it's 4 days, but
Yeah.
do you feel like you're in a better place maybe to get back to some of those numbers you want to be at?
I do, and I think there's a lot of factors in that. Starts with how we're coaching and making sure we're dialed. But we got a great group of players, man, and they've we've got more depth in a lot of different areas. Our guys are competing their tails off, and I'm excited to see what these guys can do and we keep progressing.
Are you doing anything different in terms of more special teams time or more coaches involved in special teams, or is it pretty much just what is changing, I guess, and why?
Yeah, I think you have the coaches you have, which is a lot anymore because everybody can coach, right? So we have more than enough coaches. Not to say that whether it's Boise State or Penn State as you're there. To me, it's just making sure we're doing an elite job of coaching so our guys can play fast. And then part of that is our guys. I tell guys all the time, it's a coach's job to teach and demand. It's a player's job to learn and perform. And so we got to make sure, as we're all working in this together, that we're doing a great job of teaching them, making sure they understand demanding exactly what we're getting, and then they're learning and performing. But I think we're in a really good spot right now. Now we're 4 days in, 4 practices in, so it's early, but these guys have done a great job so far.
I'm sure there were a lot of punters you looked at after JFR left, but what specifically caught your eye with Oscar in the recruitment process?
Yeah, when Oscar jumped in the portal, you start watching tape. I think there's a lot to be said that if guys have played in college football games. There's a lot to be said about that. And so he was very, very consistent with what he had done at Weber State. And then going through the recruiting process, getting to know him from behind the scenes, his mental makeup's really, really good back there also.
In terms of the linebackers, how do you feel
Yeah.
about how that group's coming on?
We've had some good practices the last couple of days. It's a good group. Certainly Marco leads that group, but I like the guys that are in that room. We're competing really hard, and I'm excited to see Jake Gribbs really stepped up. He's trimmed down. He was playing edge. We had get some weight loss over the summer, and he's done a great job as he always does with that. Extremely smart football player. Between Bowen Phelps, Chase Martin, Clay Martineau, those guys battling it out right now to see, who can kind of get ahead. And I like our two young guys. They were here in the spring, so they're a long ways ahead. Sincere Brackett and Mana Tuioti. And that's a good room. That's a close room. They're pushing each other, and they've had a couple really good practices. Awesome. Thanks, guys.